Welcome to You, Me, and a Fence Post. I'm Clint Schaffer.
And I'm Tara Schrock.
And together we'll be taking you through our crazy views on farming, family, hobbies, and probably some friendly banter between siblings along the way.
Yeah, perhaps we can settle once and for all that I'm mom and dad's favorite child.
Yeah, I doubt if we do that. It's probably more likely that we'll just probably prove that it's either Brandy or Amy.
It's my story, so I'm going to go with that. But we should probably start off by introducing ourselves, and I'll go first.
Of course you will. It's age before beauty.
Oh, goodness. Anyway, I was born and raised on a family-owned and operated farm in western Illinois.
Me too.
Well, it's the part of Illinois that's not Chicago. And it's probably the most common question that you get to when asked, when you say that you're from Illinois, it's what part of Chicago. So
Every
a fun
time.
fact about Illinois is that it's 75% farmland. So 27 million acres. It's a lot of agriculture here, and we tend to forget about that. I'm guessing a lot of people think the capital of Illinois is Chicago as well. It's kind of...
Sadly, that's probably true.
Perhaps we are kind of governed by Chicago. So I guess we can... take a look at that. Anyway, I'm married with 3 kids. And a fun fact is that I've married the same guy 2 times without getting divorced and without renewing wedding vows.
Now, that takes talent right there.
Talent, 12 months in a couple different countries. So. But I made it happen. Anyway, me and my family enjoy boating, camping, agriculture, the outdoors, cooking, and one of our favorites is playing the old NES. For those who aren't gamers, NES stands for Nintendo Entertainment Center. And, before further ado, I'll turn it over to my brother. Now, he's not as fun as I am, but he's a pretty solid guy.
Oh, you just had to bring up the NES on episode 1 here. I mean... We'll get to that story. We will get to that story someday. Well, hey, I'm Clint Schaffer. I too was raised on a farm in western Illinois, and married with 2 step boys that are absolutely awesome. We share a lot of the same hobbies. We do a lot of stuff outside. We shoot, we hunt, we go boating, we do all sorts of things. Do jeeping a lot, and of course agriculture. And probably, I don't like to admit this to everybody, but probably played a little too many video games as well. So we do enjoy that.
Probably not on the NES anymore.
Yeah, I wonder where that went. Wish I had that one. So
right.
Yeah.
Great. So what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I mean, since we're in the middle of harvest, let's talk about things that we love about harvest and maybe some funny stories about the times that you and I have driven the old auger wagon.
Auger wagon. We're starting off with that.
That's what it's called.
A grain cart.
No. I'm sorry. It's not. It's an auger wagon.
Some sort of buggy. Some sort of, I don't know.
You're not in Canada. It cannot be called a buggy. It's not a buggy.
All right. Well, actually, one of my stories about me doing a good deed and going out of my way to do a good deed that wasn't necessarily...
Hold on. Is this a true story here? I mean, how's this start? A good deed?
So I was probably right out of college and happened to be in the farmhouse, and across the radio is a KZS 578. Got a copy, Mom, it was from you, Clint. You were sending out a SOS there for Mom, and she wasn't standing right there. So I took it, and you asked me to have her get you lunch. So
done that a few times.
Yeah, being the nice sister that I am, I asked Mom if she had your lunch ready, and she sent me to the field with a brown paper bag with some Tupperware in it, and I dropped it off and said have a good day. And then next thing you know, it wasn't appreciated.
Well, I mean, wasn't appreciated, and I don't know if I'm going to say that or not. It was unexpected. It was shocking. And maybe I was a little bit confused at that point in time when I opened up said brown paper bag. The story that she's talking about is when I end up calling and asking for lunch. I mean, Mom usually makes us like absolutely awesome meals. I mean, gourmet meals, right?
Absolutely.
And she'll bring these sandwiches out and everything else, and we can eat them on the go. For whatever reason, she thought that packing chili in a Tupperware container was a good idea. And now if we're sitting still and not harvesting, chili is a fantastic idea. When you're picking corn and you're in the auger wagon, you got the combine yelling at you, trying to eat while you're bouncing across that field is not the easiest thing to do. I got Dad yelling at me over here. I'm spilling chili all over the cab, and I think that's the same day that I ruined my best work shirt at that point.
Well, it was not me though. The chili was not my idea.
Well, you're the deliverer though, you know.
Well, you know, we once had some folks down to spray the field. We have our spraying done, custom spraying done, and the sprayer driver showed up, and my oldest daughter was knee high to a grasshopper, and he asked her if she had like a bottle of water or something, and so he was on the side of the field. So she ran up and asked Grandma for, a drink or something. And she come back with, once again, a brown paper bag. And so Gracie took it over to him. His name was Chris. And Chris opened it up and he goes, "What is going on here?" There was an apple and a Miller Lite.
Well, tell you what, that sounds like about the perfect kind of little lunch there.
It was funny because first of all, my ma is not a drinker at all, and second of all, this guy happened to be on the clock and he was driving, so he kind of he said he would pick the beer up some other time when he wasn't on duty and driving around in a truck. So I did drum up a water for him. So.
Wow. Sounds like he at least made the right choice there. So that's good. You know, it is funny. I just wanted to throw this out there. You know, you were talking earlier about us using the FM radio, right? And the KZS 578. Isn't it hilarious that like that was our primary form of communication growing up?
That was our only form of communication.
Like, at 16, did you not have one in you had like a little Mustang or something?
Yep.
Didn't you have a FM radio in there?
Absolutely. And that was actually my only way to get a hold of them if something happened or if I was going to be late for curfew or whatever.
That thing would reach like clear to the Quad Cities too. I mean, I don't know what Dad had pumping through that thing, but that thing was crazy.
That radio growing up, it solved our fights. It was kind of like the babysitter trump all as well. So I was the oldest at the time, living at the house in Clint, being the youngest. So I was always his boss and the one that he was supposed to listen to. And one day I told him that he couldn't have a Crunch bar. That's correct.
KZS 578. You got a copy, Mom? Can I have a Crunch bar?
Yeah, that happened, and everybody around the neighborhood thought it was hilarious because we're trying to have this argument, and I'm yelling in the background, "No, I said you can't have a Crunch bar."
Oh, that's the other thing. The whole neighborhood was on that. Everybody could hear that. That
they were. But, speaking of which, you also couldn't get on those radios. It was, I guess call anyone out either without being known about it. I had an uncle come down once and convinced Dad. He was actually from Chicago and born and raised on the farm himself, though, but then turned city slicker. And so he come down, asked Dad if he could drive the combine. I was driving the grain cart, and grain cart. And Dad took off in the semi. And next thing you know, the bells and whistles are going off, lights are going off in the combine. It's full, and I can tell that my Uncle Dave is not stopping. I mean, he's not slowing down, he's not stopping,
and not turning the auger on.
No, and I'm kicking it into high, still trying to get to him. And I can't, holler on the radio because, Mr. Doug Chaffer, a.k.a. Dad, would be like, I knew I shouldn't have let anybody else in that combine. So, yeah, we spent the next few minutes trying to clean up all the spilled corn because, as you know, nobody likes spilled corn.
I tell you what, that's spilled corn is that's like, the number one sin on our farm. It's just absolutely that stops the operation. It's like we gotta pick everything up now. So I could only imagine. The funny spilled corn story though that I have. Do you remember when Mom and Dad would have us pick squirrel corn?
Yes.
Wasn't that the worst?
Yes, we had to go out and go through the picked fields and pick up any leftover kind of ears.
In like 55-gallon drums that were rolling across the field. Like, that's at least what I remember. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they felt like.
I know. I forgot about that. And that's how Ma fed the squirrels all winter.
Nails in every one of our trees that you'd put these corn cobs on. The funny thing is, though, and it's always funny when, if Dad's upset about us spilling corn, the funniest one for him spilling corn was he left the rock trap open on the combine on the very first field. And so anyway, he's going along, and it's like, I don't know how far we get, but he's just like, this isn't yielding. Like, this corn this is terrible. Come to find out, the rock trap's open. All of the corn, the ears are just dumping onto the ground in this nice little, windrow that's going through there. Needless to say, we got a good laugh out of it. But what we did find out, that was the easiest way to do squirrel corn. It put it all in one pile.
We had it all wrong. You're right.
Yeah, that was the way to do it. Leave the rock trap open for 100 feet or so. Heck, we can feed the squirrels all year.
Yeah, as long as you don't leave the semi door open.
You had to bring that one up. Yeah, that was probably my worst spill. I was driving the semi one fall, and it's always bad when you make a mistake once, but when you make that same mistake twice, that's bad. And when you make that same mistake twice in the same day, that's really bad.
Actually,
right?
That's just you being a slow learner. So.
This episode, we're not going to prove that I'm the favorite child. I can see how that's already going. No, I end up jumping in the semi, and I don't know. I'm probably looking at my phone or calling a friend or whatever at this point in time, and I left the hopper bottom door open on the semi, and so when the auger wagon driver, being my Uncle Bill at that point in time, starts dumping into the truck. All that corn in that auger wagon is now going onto the ground, and of course you just don't realize how fast that those auger wagons dump corn out until there's nothing to catch it.
Yeah, it piles up quick.
Oh, did that twice. Once
again, slow learn.
Oh, it was terrible. And here we are, like the end of the day, Dad's like, we're already tired, worn out from the day of harvest, and now we got to go out with the loader, and scooping things in the loader and dumping it into the semi. And needless to say, Dad, I don't think was very proud of me in that moment.
I'm sure not. But
that's probably one of many times that he wasn't, but we'll get to those later.
Well, he had the opportunity this past weekend to teach my oldest, who's now 16, how to drive.
That's right. I seen that.
Yeah, and she did perfect, of course, but I'm sorry, with all of this GPS and hands-free and I would not have ever had a crooked hay bale in my life if I had the technology of what they have today. But so, of course, she did great, didn't miss a beat. But I did inform her, like I said, all this new technology, it's just a smidgen different.
But I have to give her some credit here, though. It may look easy, but just trying to keep all that technology, like everything's synced up and going. I mean, hey, that can present its own challenges.
That is true, but in terms of keeping on point and going straight, but
no, that's awesome. It looked like she had a blast doing it.
She did. It was by her request. So yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Yeah, it was also funny, because I was sitting there thinking about, having different people drive different pieces of equipment and some of the technology. We talked about the radio. I remember when Grandpa was running, and Grandpa couldn't hear anything, right? I mean,
he could not.
World War II vet, absolutely amazing man, just had no hearing especially later in his age. But so we ended up at this point in time, Grandpa's running the auger wagon, Dad's running the combine, and he couldn't hear the radio, right? So, I mean, no matter how many times he said KZS 578, he wasn't going to be picking up on the other end. And so Dad just goes back to the simplest form of communication, and he made, I think the first ones were on like pieces of like cardboard from a 24 pack of Diet Pepsi, you know? And he basically wrote on all them, and he had them sitting next to him. And it's like, move closer, move further away, slow down, speed up. I'm like, That's the auger wagon driver, though, getting yelled at in written terms as well as getting yelled at over the radio. I mean,
right?
it's everywhere. You're getting yelled at everywhere.
They get the shaft. We also hung a tennis ball off the end of the
auger, yes.
Auger, and that way, once it was sliding right down the middle of the semi, he knew, or on the side of the semi, he knew that he was close enough. Right.
They always said that they put that on there for Grandpa, but I have a feeling that may have been put on there for me.
I'm actually right behind you on that one. Now that it's not there, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. It's like, wait a second. What's happening here? Oh, one of the other funny ones, too, just another funny harvest story. I thought Dad was going to basically get rid of his combine in the middle of harvest one time, going through the field, and he ends up running a skunk into the corn head. And that son of a gun goes all the way through that combine. I'll bet you it was 4 years later, you could, if you were greasing that thing, you could still get hints of skunk out of that thing. It literally sprayed, I think, from the header clear to the spreader in the back. It was horrible. I remember Dad just sitting in there, trying not to probably throw up his chili. I don't know.
Poor Mom. She's never gonna live the chili down.
Yeah. Well, we ain't gonna forget that anytime soon. So. Well, hey, I think that wraps up this first episode of You, Me, and a Fence Post.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. And you can look us up on Twitter at Tara Schrock and Clint at Clint Chaffer. Be sure to share this podcast and stay tuned for future episodes.
And thanks again for joining You, Me, and a Fence Post.